Welcome to the GameChanger 00100 show. I'm your host, GameChanger, and today we are going to talk about Gigahoes. I'm going to get into that in a moment, but I actually typed in that word to see if I was coining the phrase in Pornhub, and apparently it took me to a lot of interesting porn, and so I was on Pornhub recently, right? Just perusing through. And guess what I came across? Ramil's dick. No, I'm kidding. I didn't actually come across his dick. But no, it's interesting. People were sending me, the links to his video and shit like that, or apparently he has a series of videos. But the one where he's most pronounced, I don't know. I didn't watch it, and I didn't watch it for a simple reason, really. It's too much information. There's certain intimate things about people that I know that I would rather not know about them. Seeing them in a sexual setting is one of them. I mean, like, I watch porn and there's guys on there, but I don't know these guys. If I did, I would be a little taken back by the whole, seeing you naked with your dick down some bitch's throat. It's not really my thing. So didn't watch it, but what I did watch was a little bit of people talking shit about it. But that's not what this whole program is about. So, because I know, everybody had their take on it. That's not what this whole program is about. Now, it did prompt this conversation, but it's not what this is about per se. And that's not what a Gigaho is. So anyway, people were saying, he didn't use condoms, this, and this. And, yeah, I mean, that's how babies are born. People have sex without condoms from time to time. I don't know how well he knew the chick, but or a series of chicks, who knows? But really doesn't matter. Not always, but I've known for quite some time that he's done porn. I think Rude Amp brought it up over a year ago that, this Ramil guy does porn. No big deal. Here's what I like and dislike about Ramil. And this is really somewhat related to the porn thing, but this is just something, even if this didn't happen, this is the way I would feel about him. Is that he's the type that would do things for money. Obviously, and we all do things for money, but he's very money driven, and that's one thing I like about him, and I dislike about him, and not him individually, just those people, because generally speaking, when I come across people like that, if they can sell you out for a little bit of money, they would. So I am skittish about people like that. However, Ramil shows a pattern of behavior to where he wouldn't do that. And it is probably not that he is, partial to people or, just a high moral character thing. I think that he understands that people in relationships and things like that are more valuable financially in the long run than money itself. For example, establishing a decent business relationship with somebody, or a decent relationship with somebody that will later turn into or can potentially turn into a business relationship, is more valuable than a quick dollar. I'll give you an example. I was at Les Schwab Tires today, and apparently I had a slow leak in my back driver's side tire. And, they patched it up and fixed it for free. Now, they could have charged me a little bit of dough, and, then I would have paid it and I wouldn't even thought about it. But what they did was, instead of for charging for small labor, they set it up. Now they have a good business relationship with me. And as a result, when I do go in, when I do go in to get my tires rotated and shit like that, where I'm going to go. So I think it's more of that with Ramil, and which means that he's an intelligent businessman. And that's something I definitely admire about him. So shout out to him. Now, the porn thing. It tells me one thing and one thing only. And this is really one difference between he and I when it comes to this type of thing. Well, it wasn't really porn. Okay, so I was offered when I was, say, 22, maybe 21, 22. A guy offered for me to marry a person in his family or friends circle of Filipino descent of my choosing, and stay with them for I think it's 3 years or something like that. And in exchange, I would get anywhere between $20,000 and $50,000. And I was thinking to myself, marriage is sacred in this, and this. And what if I meet somebody who I actually want to marry in that? Oh, by the way, these weren't citizens. But what if I met somebody that I want to marry, between now and then, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, this is too much. It's too much shit. It's too much shit, and it's not enough money. And, what if I find Mrs. Right? Blue pill and shit. What if I find Mrs. Right within the next 2 or 3 years? That would complicate things. So basically, I let certain things impede my path to that money. Now, since this was 20 years ago, I could have did this 7 times over. Making like 350,000 just. I mean, I know it doesn't work that way, but I'm just saying that would be interesting if somebody were to do that. But yeah, so I missed an opportunity. Ramil does not miss opportunities to make money. You got to hand it to him. You got to hand it to him. Like somebody says, something, I think you'd make quite a bit of money getting your dick sucked on camera. And he says, okay. But me, I overthink shit, and I ask too many fucking questions. Too many fucking questions. He just took the money. I'm like, but what if, like, I'm kicking it with the Prince of Persia, and he says, you look familiar. Was that your dick in some Pornhub video I seen years ago? Like, I just keep picturing like scenarios where it will never really actually occur. And it stops me from getting bags. He doesn't have that apprehension. You got to give it to him for that. You got to give it to him for that. So yeah, that's really my only takeaway from that. Oh, quick story. So years ago, somebody asked me, a man who likes other men, and just that, he doesn't like women, he just likes other men. He offered. Basically, what he said was he was in the porn business. And what he needed was somebody to test out a woman's performance. So get this. He would find chicks that's interested in the business, right? Get them flued in. The one I met one of them too. The one I met was from Florida. Get them flued in. Have them fuck a heterosexual person as he sits and watch and examines her performance And then based on that performance, he would determine if, if she is camera porn ready. So now he didn't offer money. He didn't offer money. So this has nothing to do with the Ramil situation. He didn't offer money in exchange for this. What he did offer was a endless stream of pussy. And, I was like, okay, I like pussy. What could possibly go wrong? Now, some people will just take the pussy and run. But me, I had all sorts of questions. So I was like, let's meet up and let me meet the chick because I suspected that something was up. So he actually brought the chick to me. Now, she was like hood sexy. What is hood sexy? Hood sexy is when you have the genetics, of an attractive woman. However, your lifestyle makes you less so. So just picture Rihanna, except instead of going to Pilates and shit, she drink orange soda and Cheetos, and she smokes weed and she smokes cigarettes and she drinks. And see, stuff like this takes a physical toll. It takes a physical toll. And then the grooming habits and shit like that is consistent with the hood chick. So she was that. She was like genetics meeting poor circumstances, and you could see the genetics just weighing down on her personages. Think about like Felicia from Friday. You get the feeling that Felicia would be an attractive woman if she wasn't a crackhead. The crack factor makes her less so. Debo still hit it, but still, it just made her less so. So she was that. Do I give women like that the penis? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Especially then. And it really depends on where is she on the declining scale, because she's on a decline. To what extent has she declined determines if she gets the penis or not. So anyway, met her. She tried to give like a flirty look, but chicks like that can never do anything right. They can't even. Anyway, their seduction technique is also hood. Anyway, so I'm like, you know something? This is too good of a deal to be true. Why does he want me to do it? I think this guy is into me, and he's using the lure of pussy to trick straight men into his penis. That's what I'm thinking. I still think that shit. I never took him up on the offer. I still think that shit. I still think that because of little shit. Little shit that he would say. He was like, he said, yeah, and I got a fully stocked bar. So, if you want to have drinks afterwards, it's just little shit leads me to conclude that I would go there. I don't drink, by the way, but I would go there and he say, look, while your dick is out, you might as well get some ass too, or whatever. I get the stinking suspicion that that's what he was up to, and I didn't do it. And from time to time, I think, what if he was on the up and up, and I would have just increased my pussy intake, my lifetime pussy intake from that experience. I think about that on droughts and shit. But I admire somebody who didn't have or who doesn't have the same apprehension as me. Now, the too good to be, salute Naima, the too good to be true factor. Men generally want to get paid to do the shit that they would do anyway and that they like doing. Men like eating, drinking, sleeping, playing video games, and fucking, or playing another sport. Some people are fortunate enough to get paid monies to do the thing that they would be doing anyway. For example, if you are a professional athlete, when you were a kid, you fell in love with a ball or a puck of some sort. And you say, I like doing this. This is what I like doing. If I wasn't getting paid to do it, I would do it on the weekends with my friends for fun anyway. I would do it at the gym for fun anyway. Like, people want that. People want the job to where they get paid to do the shit that they wanted to do anyway. And fucking is no different. It is ideal. That is the ideal situation for all men and women. Which is why I appreciate all the cash apps and super chats, by the way. Thank you, Melody. She says, like the stream, please do. Please do. Which is why I appreciate the cash apps and super chats, because I like doing this. I do. I mean, it's a love-hate relationship with it, but I do like preparing guys. I do like helping guys. I do like dispersing this information. I do. And when you guys and girls bless me with your hard-earned monies, I appreciate that. Because then I'm getting paid to do something that I would be doing anyway. So, back to it. Men and women, but we're talking about the men here, want to get paid to fuck. They want to get paid to play video games. They want to get paid to, I don't know, play sports or watch sports or anything. They want to get paid to do the shit that they like doing and would have been doing anyway. That is the pleasure. That is the goal. That is where we all want to be. However, and this is where the title of the stream comes in. This is where the Gigahoes come in. You have a certain group of men who expect it. And this doesn't have anything to do with Ramil, because he's not this dude. He's not this dude I'm about to describe. You have the dudes that expect it. The ones with no plan B. It's NBA or bust. It's NFL or bust. It's NHL or bust. NBL or bust. I think that's a thing, NBL. Baseball. But it's this or bust. And that is where the problem comes in. And that is why, particularly in the Black community, here's the thing about Black people. Black men in particular are actually only. Our strength is that we can do anything. And our weakness is that we can do anything. I'm going to repeat that. Our strength is that we can do anything. And our weakness is that we can do anything. What does that mean? Okay, so ever notice how Black men and boys excel at the shit that people say, that kids say, I want to be when I grow up? I want to be a musician. I want to be a basketball player. I want to be a football player. I want to be a comedian. I want to be a action hero. I want to be blah, 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 blah. You name it. You ask a 10-year-old what they want to be when they grow up, and Black men disproportionately dominate that field. Period. And because 10-year-old boys don't want to be accountants or highly successful electricians or plumbers, or doctors. Well, some of them want to be doctors, but or president. Well, they do want to be president, and one did. So we excel at everything that we want to do, which means that we take all the choice shit of every 10-year-old's fantasy. That's just the genetics of us. It is a blessing and a curse. I appreciate you, Blase. So now we see the blessings. However, the curse comes in is that, these occupations that we excel in are few and far between. And we wind up creating a bottleneck, and and we compete with each other, and somebody don't get drafted. Somebody's dick just isn't big enough for that porn video. You're just a centimeter shy of well, nobody's looking at the guy really. But you get where I'm going at it. You get where I'm going with this. So, yeah, we find ourselves in these predicaments because of our talents and, kind of like latent greatness. We get distracted by our potential is what I'm getting at. Me, for example, I didn't say I wanted to be a software developer when I was a kid. I did say I wanted to work with computers and I wanted to make my own video games. That's something I did say. Now, I don't work in that industry, so I did come pretty fucking close. However, if I were to say that, it's video game or bust, then I would be doing myself a grave disservice. And that's why we have Gigahoes. Because so many Black men, young, medium, and old, particularly of the game variety, want to get paid to fuck. That's what they want to do. They want to get paid to fuck. They find somebody. They want to be sugar babies. Whatever the male version of sugar baby is, they want to be that. And there is a all or bust relationship with that, meaning that I could see if they say, something, I want to be a sugar baby, but in the meantime, I'm going to go to medical school. Or I'm going to go to university and get my degree in mathematics so I can become an astronaut. I think somebody listed astronaut in there. Or, or whatever. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to art school. I'm going to be a mechanic, but if I can't be a mechanic, if I can't be a gigaho, meaning I can't be the sugar baby of a woman who is either late in years or up in pounds or both. If I can't be that, at least I'll be a mechanic. These guys don't do that. It's either I'm going to be a gigaho or nothing at all. It's gigaho or no. Guys are hindering their potential. Now, the women in our community, and Black women in particular, do take in gigahoes at a enormous rate. And gigahoes is basically a byproduct of feminism. It's really no different than let's just say in the 70s in the white communities, you would, or excuse me, in the white communities, you would see oh, fuck those fucking bearded people. You'd see hippies. You'd see hippies. Many hippies were gigahoes. They just lived for the moment. They only did the things in life that they wanted to do, never the things that they had to do, even bathe. And as a result, they never really moved themselves forward. They're like, I'm going to live this life or nothing at all. And, you know, they do just enough to sustain themselves. That is the life goal of so many of these young brothers. You have to have a plan B. Now, to the ladies, the ones that seek gigahoes. First of all, I want to explain why some women seek these type of guys. And it's not for the reason that the guys tell themselves. It's really for an empowerment rush. They want to know that they are with somebody that, at least temporarily, that cannot leave. You see, when you're dealing with an insecure woman, and a lot of women are insecure of all races, but when you're dealing with an insecure woman, the thought of a person wanting to be with the woman long term is out of the question. She believes that her femininity is not enough to sustain a relationship. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, but you know, she believes that. It starts off with that belief. So she needs to feel that there is another reason, that he not only wants to be with me, he has to be with me. So they essentially find someone who doesn't seem to be able to function without her. A person who is incomplete without her. And then she completes the areas that that he needs, whether it's economic, whether it's economic and sexual, or whether he's simply not a entirely functioning human being. By that, I mean, like, he's, how can I say? He's not rightly to, okay, for example, this white chick, she wanted me to pimp her, right? And it's not what you think. There was no glory in that. I didn't want to touch or fuck her. I was low on funds, and I considered entertaining the notion. But the problem with her was that she was addicted. I think it was speed or meth, whatever white people do. But she was addicted to it, like damn near on some Felicia shit. And she just didn't want to function. She couldn't function. Like, she, of course, you know, could make the money. She could make the money, but the process of paying the bill was something that she would rather not have to deal with. So it would be and I don't really know if you call this a pimp or an accountant or whatnot, but you know, it would be my function to manage her money. That's what she was wanting me to do. She wanted me to manage her money. So she didn't have to do that. So there are guys who aren't apt in that way. They are inept in that way, and they want to, and there's nothing wrong with that, like Tony Stark was. So it's nothing really wrong with that. But they want to complete that aspect of them. So the mating strategy is not finding a guy and make him want to be with you, but finding a guy that has to be with you. Not a guy that wants to stay, but a guy who can't leave. So with that mating strategy, there is a abnormal amount of women in our community who are willing to give a gigaho the opportunity that he believes is the opportunity of a lifetime. This is the thing that he has been waiting for his entire life. Now, so I get it. There is security, and you can say to your friends, I got a man. Or to quote Color Purple, I's married now. I's married now. But and this isn't a Pookie Ray Ray thing. Don't think that at all, because these guys aren't really like, I think that's a separate argument. And you can be educated and be these guys. Trust me, I know. So it's really not a Pookie Ray Ray thing. But take Jody, right? Jody from the movie Baby Boy. He was not self-sufficient. It was her car, her apartment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She even made random threats. I kick your black ass out. I'll call your probation officer and send your black ass back to jail. He couldn't really leave. They constantly argued. She constantly threatened him. And the only thing that gave him some type of leverage is that he was living with his mother, not her. So, so seeking out a guy like that, there is a benefit. He is the guy that can't leave. No matter what, he's stuck, or he appears to be stuck. So that's why women do it. But here's the kicker of that, especially when it's done in large amounts, as it is, in our community, is that because this guy is dependent on you in any way, or in a multitude of ways, he's not self-sufficient. He has to have an escape plan. There is no welfare for him. There isn't any alimony or child support or all that good shit for him. There is no safety net for him. So he has to have a plan B. Ladies, if you find yourself dealing with this type of nigga, then what you will find is that not only is he cheating on you, but he will cheat on you with an extremely unattractive woman. Because it's not just sex for him, it's security. He wants to be in a position to where when you say, and you will, they always do, when you say get your drunk, get your vaping, get your video game, get your frozen Pop-Tarts and get the fuck out of my house. He needs a plan B for when that day comes. So he's going to get with anybody. He sees women as less of a sexual value, but more of a job, really. He is a gigolo, or excuse me, he is a gigaho. Now, it's very difficult to maintain and sustain a long-term relationship with someone like this. The only time I've seen it work, like over 10 years, is when the woman wants to keep appearance. Because that's really what he's about. He's a showpiece. He's basically just her way of not becoming a stereotype or statistics, a single angry black woman. No, she is an angry black woman with a man. Now, this man is always very, very quiet when she expresses her anger publicly. He's kind of like in the shadow and doesn't say much, but comes out when commanded. Yeah, Stedman. You know, his job, his reason for existing is for her to say, I got a man. And, for that privilege, she's willing to do everything. She'll wear the pants, the apron, at the same time, and all that shit. She does the cooking, cleaning, and all that shit. And she pays the bills, and shit like that. On the surface, it would seem like this guy has a deal. And actually, to be perfectly honest, and keep in mind, this is me putting myself in not only his situation, because I most certainly would not be happy in that situation. This would have to put me in that mindset. And in order to be in that mindset, I would have to put myself at the bottom of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I'm bringing that up. Hold on one moment. All right. And I'm going to cover this in greater detail pretty soon. All right. So all right. So if you look here, if you are a guy who is stuck at the bottom, let's just say the bottom 2 to 3, this situation will get you 1 through 3 on the bottom of the hierarchy of needs. You have food, warmth, rest, security, safety. If you want to call this intimate relationships, that's fine. And, friendship, I guess, you're with other gigahoes. Once you move further, like the problem is that it can't take you, this relationship, this deal, this situation cannot take you past the middle of the thing. It can't. There's no prestige and there's no feeling of accomplishment with that. Nor do you have the building blocks to get past that with that. And what winds up happening, this hierarchy goes to both men and women. What winds up happening is that there's a break. Either his needs change or evolve in time, as that's what it does with the hierarchy. Either that happens, but what tend to happens mostly is that the women fall short. They collapse. Okay, so when you look at this and you look at it from the woman's perspective, they're born in the middle. In the first world, they are born in the middle. Meaning that, they have the food, water, warmth, rest, security, safety, intimate relationship, and friends that they want, period. It's easy to get to the third level for a woman. She doesn't have any problems finding intimate relationships or a series of that. Now, the next level, prestige and feeling of accomplishment, is why she needs the gigahoe. She wants the prestige of relationship, the prestige of of marriage or, you know, having a boyfriend or just saying I got a man. She wants that prestige, and that's where he comes in. But she's really just fulfilling her own personal fourth level shit by fulfilling all of his 1 through 3. And also feeds into her feeling of accomplishment because she accomplished maintaining a relationship. Hold on, let me stop sharing. Yeah. So so basically these things are meant to fail because a woman will see oh, I should have kept it up. But at the top is fulfilling one's full potential. She's not really fulfilling her natural potential as a woman, and nor did she create the building blocks to do so. And that's because she's not behaving as a woman. She's not using her feminine potential to obtain these goals. And therefore, she's always ultimately unfulfilled, and these relationships collapse all the time. Gigahoes know this, which is why they try to keep as many women like this around as they can. And the women in turn know this, which is why they kind of like bathe in the attention. They have a bunch of backup niggas. Sad, unfortunate, but true. And that is the state of so many relationships here in Black America. Like Danica was saying the other day, a lot of women in our community are intimidated by certain guys. And you got to understand where the intimidation comes from. The intimidation comes from the fact that, hey, if he is a self-sufficient guy, and I'm not talking about like a guy who's afraid of a divorce because, you know, she'll get a large portion of the thing, you know, because those guys exist and they're not like ready to divorce immediately. So there is some security in that. But like if he could function without her, there's an intimidation. They don't like to be with somebody that can leave at any time, just like you don't want to be at a job where they exercise the whole at-will employment thing. Amazon is like that. I forget what it's called, but they have this business model where every quarter or every year or so, they reward the top 10% and they fire the bottom 10%, which means that every year, you know, you might get fired. And then what happens is subsequently the following year, let's just say you weren't in the top 10%. Let's just say you were the top 11%. And you're like, whew, almost got fired. But then there's next year and the other 10% that you was better than is gone. So you're really on the chopping block now. I think it's a bad idea, but you know, hey, that's me. Anyway, so it's that feeling. It's the lack of security that comes with a man that can leave. Hence the term insecure. You're insecure because you're worried that your pussy just isn't enough, and it's not. You need a sandwich too. So I get it, but I get the problem that these ladies are in, but it's not a viable solution, as you all are starting to see. And that's why Kevin Samuels is blowing up with this whole, what's it called? High value man thing. You know, they've seen that this Gigaho thing isn't working, the homosexual, whatever you want to call it. This is not working. It doesn't get you to where you want to be. They've seen that. We had generations of collapsed relationships of this. And now the boomers are coming of age to where they're starting to realize it, like, oh God, I'm married to an alcoholic and he doesn't cook, clean, or do anything. And, you know, he doesn't even fuck me right. He's just here and I'm doing all this stuff myself. And, you know, when I go out for prestige and feeling of accomplishment and say I'm a strong Black woman, people just look at me and laugh their ass off. Like, why did you put this burden on yourself just to say that you are overcoming this burden? You know, like far too many women are in this scenario now. They're looking for a way out, and that is where people like Kevin Samuels come in. How do I get out of this quagmire that I put myself into? Now, Kevin Samuels' answer is not really pleasing because I'm pretty sure I need to watch his stuff more often, but I'm pretty sure it's the older women who are asking this. And his answer is you can't. To which I agree, like, you know, to a certain extent, in a certain age, and a certain woman. If you have not practiced femininity your entire, and don't get me wrong, it's not just age, because, you know, a feminine woman can divorce and find another high value man quickly. Like, look at Irene that. But no, if you have not been practicing femininity since birth, you will lose against those who have. Jenny Ma is an older woman. By older, I mean she's past 40. You know, not Marco's older, like 25. No, but she's like 42, 43, something like that. But however, she has been practicing the art of fem tai Kwando. Fem Kwando, she is the master of it. Therefore, she had no problem. She had no problem finding a high value man. For women who haven't, who are trying to use the cliff notes, who are trying to cram the information in, who are trying to, at the last minute, just stuff in their brain some hints and tips on how to appear to be feminine. Sweetie. You know, I don't know how to break it to you. Kevin Samuels does a great job of it. But it's not going to happen. I mean, you know, like if, let's just say you're a woman who's 45, which means that you spent 30 years not being feminine, which means you have to unlearn what you have learned for the past 30 years. And then you have to learn what you should have been learning for 30 years as quickly as possible. So there's an unlearning process, and then there's a relearning process. All of this will take quite some time. Take Lonnie Love, for example. She has to undo decades of bad habits, eating habits, exercise habits, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She would have to, attitude habits, she would have to undo decades of all of that bad shit. And then that's just to get to regular. And then from regular, she would have to relearn all the good shit. You know, it will take her a while to get rid of all the fat and change the lifestyle that led to all the fat. Put it like this, fellas. How many guys are interested if you say, really? So how long have you actually gave a shit about what men want? And she said, Thursday. I just started giving a shit about what men wanted Thursday. Then you're like, oh, well, you don't have the experience. Your resume, your pussy resume is blank. It has a picture of you with a ass in the front. God, that was a disgusting picture. That's your pussy resume. Very difficult to move forward from there. You're basically starting at the bottom and you're climbing to you're starting at the bottom and then you spend a long time climbing just to ground level. Like picture a well. Picture a old-timey drinking well. And next to that well is a mountain. And you have two people. One of them starts to climb the mountain. And the other one gets a rope, the rope that they should have been using to climb the mountain, and lowers themselves into the well. And then somewhere the person is one person is nearly at the top of the mountain and the other person is at the bottom of the well, and they say, you know something, I don't like it at the bottom of this well. I want to be at the top of the mountain. How do I get there? It's like, not only do you have to climb out the well, but you also have to climb the mountain. And let's not forget that somebody else is already at damn near at the top of the mountain. That's Jenny Ma. Being so insecure of your ability to climb a mountain that you don't even try is the reason why you found yourself. You see, you took the path of least resistance to the penis. Anus. And there's consequences for that. Not all penis is good penis. There's consequences of that, and the boomers and the Gen Xers are now starting to feel those consequences. And no shade, it's not your fault. Feminism was a bad idea, and you took it. You took this bad idea and ran with it. It seemed good on paper. There's a lot of things that seem good, but when you try it out, it doesn't really pan out that way in actual life. No shade. But here's what I do fault the boomers and the older millennials for, particularly the females, is that they see that it's a trap and they try to convince their daughters to do the same thing. Why? Because they are still in competition with their own daughters for my penis. So they have to keep this going. They encourage this Gigaho lifestyle amongst the men and boys. That's why on the movie Baby Boy, she was saying, the mother was saying, you need to get out on your own. Why don't you and Yvette go out and, or she was basically saying, why don't you stay with Yvette? She wasn't encouraging him to, go to school or find a trade or, something. She was saying, don't live here, live with another woman and become completely dependent on her. Be her gigaho. She was not promoting self-sufficiency. She was promoting dependence. Basically sending her down the same failed path. All right, so let me put the link out there and read some comments. All right, so Yeah. I mean, basically, and that's why I know it appears that I'm overly so, but that's why I'm hard on overweight women, because it's really a physical indicator of how long you spent not concerned with the desires of men. And how can you know, how can you fulfill my desires when you're not concerned with the desires of man? I'm a man. You've never said, what do Game Changer want? What do men want? Because if you actually inquired that, if you actually went on that philosophy, you wouldn't be fat. So that discussion really didn't hit you, unfortunately. All right. So we have Melody in the house. Let's see.
Hi.
How you doing, Melody?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Learning that the elder women are competitors instead of her teachers. Absolutely. Absolutely. And keep in mind that, like I said, it's a permanent process, meaning that it's something that you should learn at an early age. Kind of like the best martial artists are people like that. The best athletes aren't people who just started yesterday. They didn't wake up like at 24 years old and say, I'm going to just now start learning how to play basketball. It takes a lifetime of preparation. And unfortunately, the person who was supposed to be preparing you for it wasn't. She was preparing you for failure. So, Melody, let me ask you: do you feel that and I'm not talking about the people in your personal circle, like your mom and stuff like that. I'm talking about generally from the community. Was there that old woman who catered to the needs of her husband that led you in the direction of submission?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, really? Who was it? Was it grandma or?
Um, it was aunts. It was a lot of my family members. I saw feminism and I kind of wanted to fall back because I didn't want to go in that direction.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's what really made me want to fight that. And I stopped having friends because most of my friends are on the feminism thing as well, the ones that I did have back when I was younger.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just stay to myself and I don't agree with it at all.
Okay. Okay. Here, one moment.
Hmm.
So, would you say that the majority of the women are taking you away from your natural path as a woman, or they're putting you towards it?
They're putting me towards it because it's making me realize that I don't want to be like that. It feels much better to be submissive to a man than to be trying to be in control. It's easier to be it's easier just to be a woman, a natural woman. That's what I am. That's what I was born. So I don't feel I can be anything else.
Now, what are some of the things that they do to try to get you off your path to natural womanhood?
Well, they try to tell me things like I don't need a man, and like I just hear a lot of things. I really can't think right now, but they just try to tell you you don't need a man and to get them for their money, and all those feminism talking points.
And you say that you see in their own real life that it doesn't get them far. What do you see is the end goal, the end game of all of this playing?
The end game of the feminist.
Yeah, like I mean, like, do you see like the older women with six cats um, and they're waiting for kittens and shit? They never give them away because the more cats, the merrier. Like,
Yep,
okay,
I see that. I see miserable women by themselves. I see miserable women who takes all the responsibility of a man
Mhm.
because they decided to take control of the household. So not only do they have to fulfill the roles of a woman, but they have to fulfill the roles of a man as well.
Okay.
So I see a lot of this.
Now, do you get approached often? And I know not now or recently because of COVID, but um, did you get approached often by what appears to be gigahoes?
Mm, what guys who want me for my money?
Amongst other things, but yeah, primarily. Guys who basically are looking to live off of you, with you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
No, because I don't give off that energy.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like they only approach the women who give off that energy, like they're willing to take care of them and things like that. Whereas me, I give off that feminine energy where men want to be in control.
So you think that these guys are intimidated by you?
The gigahoes, probably. They know not to approach me with that. I don't get approached with I get approached by real men, honestly. When I was younger, I probably got approached by guys you know, who just want to use me, but now I get approached by mature guys.
So that's interesting. Why would they approach a younger woman who has less to offer financially? That's weird.
Well, what do you mean by like do you can you give me like the definitions of the gigahoes besides wanting you for your money?
Um, well, I guess the best way to describe it would be more like a male sugar baby.
Oh yeah, then no, I'm sorry. Then yeah, I never really got approached by those, even when I was younger.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, because they exist. And also, what I've noticed is that they're extremely underpaid as far as sex workers go.
Right.
Um, in the sense that women in the industry, and one in particular, I know, like guys spend a lot of money. Like male sugar daddies spend a lot of money on a at least feminine sugar baby. What do I mean by that? I'm not talking about like direct prostitution. So I'm pretty sure that they make their share of money as well. But more to the fact, they what do you call those? Those actual sugar babies.
Hmm.
Like they be having education paid for. Like these guys really fund their lifestyle.
Right.
You know, um, the guys who just look for something on the side of the wife and shit like that, and the wife generally knows. Like these girls get paid a lot, but the guys, they will they will be gigahoes for women who aren't wealthy.
Hmm.
Like they would be the gigaho for the woman who gets coffee to the man who has a sugar baby. Like she's the secretary of a guy who can afford a female um, a sugar baby. Like it doesn't take much for guys, and that's what I mean. Like when women do it, they tend to ask for a lot more. When guys do it, they really don't get shit, and they brag on this shit, like the basic shit. Like look at my shoes. She bought me these shoes. It's like, oh really? He bought her this condo, you know, or this education, or this Maserati, but nice shoes, I guess. It's kind of like that. It's like there isn't much of a market, or I shouldn't say that. it's not really a highly paid thing for guys to do.
Right.
Like you're not going to get like I know guys like that. They brag. If he had like $100, like because so this dude he was a gigolo, a semi jawline nigga, and he was seeing this white chick. I have no idea what she looks like, right? Who was married, and he came to my house and he showed off a liquor bottle that she had, gave him, and $100. And he was like, "Man, look at this! Look at this shit." I was like, "So," and I don't know. Maybe it was expensive liquor. I don't drink, so I don't know how to gauge such things. But it looks to me like she just rushed you out the house because her husband was coming home, and she just grabbed a bottle and $100, like whatever cash she had on her, and said, "Get the fuck out." And you're bragging on that, which is fine if it's not by itself, is what I'm getting at. Like, it would be fine if somebody, like, say, Complex Design, were in that situation, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about the fact that she's married or anything like that. I'm talking about it'd be fine because that is not his sole source of income. And that is not how he solely measures his worth. Because that would mean that your sole worth is $100 in liquor. Like that's all you got.
There has to be something wrong with the women doing that. Either they're ugly or they're fat or they're old. Because I don't think a regular, like, pretty attractive woman would do that. Just give a man money and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, generally it comes from insecure women. But I don't think that that was the case with this guy. I think that she was just married to a guy and she just wanted some side black penis. Um, you know, she, no, she just like she has her fetish and he's a jawline nigga. So
Yeah.
yeah. So there was that. But I don't really know. Like what I was saying earlier, there's some insecurities, and attractive women can be insecure as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it really comes down to that. Yeah, you will find a higher concentration, or I should say, a different type of insecurity when it comes to the unattractive women.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, something generally is not right there. But I'll put this one on the man. It's definitely not right when the man does this.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Hold on. They already have an apartment and food in the fridge, and all she offers is pussy and head as a bonus. I, I don't know. Maybe I missed something. I'm not sure the context of what you were talking about. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So no, exactly. Basically, she's and that's what I'm getting at about the whole thing, because you're not living up to your full potential. And you're never going to get it that way. She's offering you basically crumbs from what her husband is getting. You're basically getting the shit that he wouldn't miss. Like the husband has a house with a whole bar in it. He's not going to miss that bottle of whatever the fuck it was. And he's not going to miss that $100. But you would. If you woke up and that bottle and $100 was gone, you'd be looking for the nigga that took it. He wouldn't, including his wife's pussy. Basically, you're living a moment of his entire life, like a small. You're eating the crumbs off of his plate and calling it a meal. That $100 is crumbs, and so is that liquor. It's and you're calling it a meal. And I think that that's where a lot of these guys are selling themselves short. I mean, the women too, the sugar babies too. It's just that, they get much, much bigger crumbs because pussy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's my take on that. If nobody wants to come up, I'm going to close down because I actually got to prepare for something tomorrow. So it'll probably be best that I do that now. So let's see. I know, right? Streaming Tuesday. Oh, that reminds me, and this is on a separate note. I don't know what prompted this. As y'all know, I haven't really been around the YouTube spaces lately, and that's because I'm working on something. But um, apparently, there's some talk about streaming and or I'm sorry, panels. Like apparently having panels is like a bad thing now. I don't get it.
Yeah, I heard that. I thought that was pretty weird because everybody have panels.
Yeah.
I think that's just more haters.
Is that what that is?
I think so because that doesn't make any sense.
Well, I
Well,
don't so from what I gather, they're saying that you're just taking away from the art of it and shit like that. But it's like, no, I mean, because like when people have regular talks, right? When people have like TED Talks and shit like that,
mm-hmm,
at the end they open it up for Q&A.
exactly. It don't pay attention to that because I think it's just hate. Because didn't that come from the trolls?
Well, I mean, a couple of content providers were saying it too.
And the content providers are the ones having panels, correct?
No, no, no. Some of them do, some of them don't. You know, but most content creators have panels. I don't really get the takeaway. Some of the detractors were saying that you can't do it without a panel, but actually, I did talk like for an hour before I put the link out there, as I
Exactly.
always do. So I don't really get where the pushback from panel discussions are. Let's see.
Me neither. I think people are more engaged in a conversation when you're having a panel. It it brings, I don't know, I think it brings more views. It's just, I don't know.
Good point. Good point. But no, it was just
Yeah.
a weird topic. Like I say, I've been sporadically watching, but I guess that's the new thing that's on people's mind. Now that this Ramil situation died down, and rightfully so. I mean, I don't see what the big deal was about it initially. I mean, like he's a guy and he did porn. I mean, he made no secret about it. We always knew that that's what he did before. Um,
I
Never
don't
seen a
see
big deal.
anything wrong with that. Yeah,
Yeah,
me neither. He's making his money. That's one of his hustles. So,
yeah. Or it used to be. I don't think he does it anymore. But if he does, then still.
yeah.
Yeah,
See
Let the
nothing wrong
brother
with
bust his nut in peace. God damn it!
that. Hey.
yeah, pretty much.
Praise
Yeah.
for the panel.
Hey. What's up?
Was goody was goody.
That's good.
I don't know.
So,
Go
what's your
ahead.
what's your thoughts on the whole Gigahoes thing?
Uh, man, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I was in and out with like the whole Gigaho thing. I think when you did the whole thing about what is his name, the dude from Baby Boy,
Uh huh.
right? So I was just thinking to myself, it's just like the only thing that resonates in my mind is men just taking the opportunity to just be how do I say it submissive to a woman, which is
Hmm.
it just doesn't look right in general. I mean, yeah, she's just gonna use you for the peen, you know what I'm saying? And it's the money in exchange or whatever resources it comes after that. But at the end of the day, like a Gigaho man, like I done heard certain stories from dudes. You know what I'm saying? The shorty would pay them to hang out, and then the dude would just give the dick to them,
Hmm.
and he would just be like, "Yeah, I ain't really got no money right now, and shorty's letting me get the puss or whatever." I think one of them was a reform AG.
Okay.
So she was just kind of getting out of that. She wanted to hop back on a pogo stick again, and she bumped into one of the dudes, and yeah, he was doing it for a while, but she was type crazy, and she still technically wasn't over her ex. So it's just a wild ass story, and I was just like, it wound up being that homeboy just stopped dealing with her in general because she was just so crazy, but she still was trying to chase homeboy for the peen.
Now, let me ask: do these guys think that they are submissive? Because I get the impression that they're under the impression that they are dominant in a relationship. Because we were using the movie Baby Boy as an example, right?
Mhm.
He kind of seemed like he thought that he was, and that it was going to remain this way forever. Like he would see his baby mama, and he'd be like, a nigga hungry, give me something to eat, you know, and she'd do it and shit like that. Like he probably felt dominant in the relationship because of shit like that. Like she was leading him to believe that. But then when it came down to it, he was begging for his other baby mama to use the car so he could go see her. When that collapsed, she was like, I tell you what, when I want some dick, maybe I'll call your ass, and hung up on him. Like he didn't realize until that point, until she clicked the phone, like, oh shit, I thought I was dominant. Like,
Well, GC,
I was dominant in the relationship.
but think about it, GC. Like in that instance right there, don't you think, and somehow, some way, for him to be that dominant has to come from escapism?
Elaborate.
All right, so let's continue with the analogy of Baby Boy. Now we
Okay.
have the circumstance of Jody. Am I right? It's Jody, right?
Right, Jody. Uh-huh.
Okay, so Jody is living at home with his mother, and the stepdad is there. Stepdad is giving him shit, and he's not doing nothing with his life. Let's just be real. He's not doing nothing with his life. Got the baby mother, the other baby mother, whatever, this, that, and the third. So why I say it's escapism is because he has no options. He doesn't want to go out to get a job. He doesn't want to do conventional things that a man would do. He would just feels as if I have dominance control over the situation, to get out of the situation I'm in now with my mom, that I could use that dominant force that I'm hindering, right, on the women that I'm smashing. That's what I mean by escapism. Because I mean, I'm not saying every situation, but it has to be a psychological reason why a man is going to go and be a gigolo. They have to escape from something, based upon the story that I've heard from dudes, and then the analogy of Baby Boy. In my opinion, I mean, that's just how I see it.
Well, Gigaho, it does appear, at least, to have all of the privilege of being a man with none of the responsibility of it.
Right.
And it's
Exactly.
it's not until later in life, where, and it typically comes when she pulls the dick out on you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I think that's when you get that wake up call, like, this was not a good idea. They kind of like lure you in like Hansel and Gretel, but then they're really just fattening you up for slaughter.
And by the time you realize it's too late, it's too late. Because you're in a relationship. You probably had kids by him and everything.
Well, yeah. I mean, like with Jody, like, the movie came out in 99. He was 19, so which would make him 40 now. So basically, if he were, hypothetically, if they were still together, she's giving him shit. Like, you're a 40-year-old nigga trying to sell dresses on the in the hair salon and shit. That shit was cute at 19. That shit not cute now. Like it will come a time where she's
gonna get tired and she gonna be like, nigga, get a job.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of those, you know what I mean?
It's basically a Pookie Ray Ray / feminist relationship. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
And these relationships are short-lived, and if they are long-lived, they're just like tolerated.
Well, that's the thing. Well, the man is going to be tolerated, but now he's going to become effeminized based upon that relationship, though.
Exactly.
Because if a woman, and especially if you're going to still do the same thing from 19 to 40, hypothetically, that it means already you lose the game, because you stayed stagnant. And then besides staying stagnant, you allowed your woman to control you. Yeah, I don't have no damn talking. I ain't gonna let no woman talk to me crazy. Like, you're out of your goddamn mind if you think you're gonna talk to Brown Bird like that.
Right.
Well, they don't
fly out this nest quickly.
Well, it's funny because in these relationships, they don't talk crazy until later. Like, they start off real cool. And then one day they hit you below the belt, And you're surprised that like, oh, you're not supposed to talk to me like that. You're supposed to make me some tacos when I dick you down. You know, like, where's this coming from? That's when they get the wake up call, and it sucks because it hits too hard.
You know why? Because it's comfort.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I say you're being fattened up. You're being fattened up like Hansel and Gretel.
Agreed.
You know, you got comfortable, and you know now you can't really reverse. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it's okay if you do it, you know, and it's okay if you do like a 50-50 situation, but don't let that be your only thing. They will use that to their advantage. Period.
Absolutely. Just men still gotta have balls in the situation. That's how I feel. You still gotta have some type of balls. You just cannot allow that nonsense to just keep on with you, because these women are crazy. And they're looking for a reason. Whoa. People talk about doing it. I mean, listen, to Dane, I mean, bro, it's ironic. If he was to do a sequel to Baby Boy, it would kind of remind me of the situation he had with his baby mama that happened last year.
Who, Tyrese?
Yeah, Tyrese, about how the whole situation, the child support payments and all this other stuff, and he's crying like, "Don't take my baby away from me."
It was so sad.
Yeah, man, like
that's what most men are going through in America.
I don't know. Tyrese
can't see their kids.
Well, Tyrese was just some like weird as hell. Like, you know, when he did the top ramen thing, I'm like, oh, this nigga's just weird as fuck.
Tyrese was questionable after a while. And it's just ironic, like how he tried to be this dude that tried to give dating advice and all this other stuff. And my whole mindset about Tyrese, one of these little simp whisperers in my mind, man. Like, I just couldn't take him seriously. Every time I hear him sit up there and say all that stuff on Facebook, I'd be like, fuck out of here with that nonsense, man.
Well, remember he did one YouTube post where he was saying, don't leave your girl and have your children raised by wolves. And he was saying this to the men. I'm like, wouldn't it be a better statement to just tell these bitches don't date wolves?
I agree.
Like,
you know that's that wokeism thing that they like to do. They go ahead and they think they spewing something just because they use these big ass words and they go on YouTube and they saying something for the community. You know that.
I don't know what the fuck that was, but
that's what I mean, GC. You're not supposed to know. It's wokeism.
Oh, is that what that is? Oh, no.
Wokeism.
It's wokeism. Nah. It's a word I made up. I ain't gonna front. It ain't mean shit. But I'm just saying that in regards. Yeah, woke is wokeism. You know what I mean?
Wokeism. Can I use that?
Go ahead. There's no problem. Wokeism. That's Tyrese and the rest of them. Wokeism. You know what I'm saying? What's on YouTube and Facebook? They saying something, man. You know that. The ideologies be backwards, and then what you say, man, they get caught up because Tyrese just got caught up. I don't even know if the brother doing YouTube videos no more. Maybe he is. I don't know.
Well, he's probably not, because I'm pretty sure his PR person told him not to do that shit. Like,
yeah, he fell back a lot.
Yeah, and the only thing he did was go on the Breakfast Club with Charlamagne the God and the rest of them.
Yeah, to make himself relevant. That's why.
Well, every time he tries, it just get worse. Like, you know, like, just don't do shit. Like, Ludacris just don't do shit when he's on the set of Fast and Furious. Mm-hmm. He see Vin Diesel and The Rock about to get into it. He's just like, oh, yeah, that's none of my business.
Yeah.
But Tyrese just got to do something, thinking that what he's doing is the wisest thing to do, like eating top ramen on camera. Like, that doesn't come off as fake as fuck.
He's an attention whore.
That's what I'm saying.
He loves attention.
I gotta do this for the people. You know
exactly. I want to show them that I'm still down, so I'm gonna go out and buy some top ramen and say I eat it like it's all the time. Like,
you know, they always pandering, man. And then especially you have some of them cats that sit up there and think that they do, especially this year. I didn't seen it all the time, man. And sat up there and did that with the Black Lives Matter protest too. I didn't heard nothing from these people for 6 months. All of a sudden they marching outside with all these megaphones and talking all that nonsense. Wokeism. There you go.
Yep.
Oh God. Well, no, the BLM people are the worst because basically they're the ones who are just waiting for shit to happen so they can have something to march about.
Bro,
Like,
GC, I'm sorry, bro, but I gotta tell you, man, because that's what happened. That's what happened here in my city, New York, man. The first time they had the Black Lives Matter joint, it was on a Thursday. And when I tell you the joint went down, man, they was sitting up there punching police officers in the face and sitting up there knocking out windows and glasses and all that other stuff. Yeah,
Crazy.
it was a whole entire anarchy out there, man. And then they had the whole thing. You had these, you know what was funny, GC? They had these white people sitting up there singing Negro spirituals.
Yeah.
Sitting up there dressing like they House on the Prairie looking at them.
Did you notice most of them were white?
Yeah, and then what was more
crazy.
embarrassing? What was more embarrassing is that you had some Asian dude on the megaphone talking about we got to do this for the people. I'm like, what people are you talking about, bro? Like you ain't speaking for people like me, bro. But that's here nor there. That's that whole business.
It's just phony.
Phony. Go ahead, GC.
Yeah, it's intersectionality between like all the groups. It's like, okay, now that we have united under the suffering of a group of people, now let all the other group of people talk about their suffering. I'm an Asian guy because I can't get into Harvard because I'm not considered minority enough. And once we get rid of affirmative action, we'll be able to go to Harvard more. Black Lives Matter.
Lives Matter.
Right.
Yeah. I swear. And you think these dudes are something? They about something because they'll try to march in spaces or march in neighborhoods where there's black people. Like for instance, they'll try to march in Harlem and they'll try to go to Harlem with that nonsense and be like, yeah, we got to do this for the people. Like, nah, fam, I'm not buying it, son. Keep shopping.
Did you guys see when Rashida Stover was out there with them and she was telling all the white people to go home? She was like, "You don't belong here. Go home." Did you see that?
Yeah, that was cringe.
That was
I think I did a tweet on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They be projecting.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's yeah. But I'm gonna go ahead and shut this one down early because I got some things I got to do for tomorrow.
Okay.
So do y'all have final thoughts? Melly, you want to go first?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great show as usual. And I'll see you later.
Okay, appreciate you.
Okay.
Brownbird?
Hey, GC, you already know. Always, it's always a thank you for allowing me on, man. But great convo.
Peace, okay, peace. Appreciate you. Always welcome, man.
All right, man. Peace.
Peace.